You guys know how passionate I am to see parents discipling their children in the Bible. And while it doesn't have to be complicated, it does have to be intentional. That's why I'm excited to introduce you guys to the Illuminate Bible series from my friends at Lifestone Ministries. This is a Bible curriculum that's designed to grow with your child from first grade all the way through high school. So whether your child is just starting to read or asking deeper questions about faith and culture, Illuminate meets them right where they are and helps them build a lasting relationship with Jesus. Each week, you'll walk through a simple 5-step approach. You'll look at a Bible story, check out the context around it, see how it connects to the rest of Scripture, study the theology behind it, and find out what it means for real life. It's designed for families, so you don't need 5 different books for 5 different kids. You can go through it together using workbooks tailored to the ages of your kids. So if you've been looking for a way to disciple your kids without adding more stress to your day, this is it. For more information, visit lifestoneministries.com/Heidi to learn more about this amazing homeschooling tool. Hey, everybody, this is Heidi St. John. Welcome to the Heidi St. John podcast. You guys are in for a treat today because my friend, author, and speaker, Rachael Carman, is back in the studio with me today. And we are going to be dishing about adult kids and what it's been like to become grandparents. Some of the things we wish we'd known and some of the things we're still learning. And I think you guys will really be blessed by this. I want to say a shout out to the sponsors of today's podcast. Our show is being sponsored in part by my friends at the Functional Medical Institute. Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood are really dealing hope as they help you figure out the best way to live your life and take care of your bodies. You guys can find out more by going to homeschoolhealth.com. Be sure to use the coupon code Heidi and you can get 20% off your entire purchase. So check them out. You guys settle in, grab a cup of coffee, and stick around. I think you're going to be encouraged. Shout out to our sponsor, the Functional Medical Institute. I love those guys. Check them out at homeschoolhealth.com and be sure and use the coupon code Heidi for 20% off your entire purchase. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Lots of questions coming in to me here at the podcast, and you know I love to answer those questions. You can submit them to me by going to HeidiSt.John.com/Mailbox Monday. You guys know the drill. Keep them short and sweet and to the point. If you've got a question for Dr. Mark Sherwood, you can also submit those there. We want to hear from you. And again, it's the same link. Just go to HeidiSt.John.com/Mailbox Monday. For those of you who are asking about my women's ministry, Faith That Speaks is taking you guys through the Bible this year, and you can jump in anytime you want to, and we would love to have you. It's just a great way to establish a pattern of being in God's Word, encouraging each other by what we are learning, and then every Monday, I teach live on Zoom. So I hope you guys will join us by going to HeidiSt.John.com and checking out Faith That Speaks. All right, Rachael Carman is back in the studio with me. I've known Rachael for a really long time. We go way back in the Wayback Machine. Rachael is one of the funniest and most wonderful speakers that I know. As she brings God's Word to women, she has a passion to help you guys walk closer with the Lord. She's also the mother of 7 and soon to be a grandmother of 9, 10, 12. Is it 12?
It's 12.
For goodness sake, Rachael, welcome
back.
back.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I can't believe it. 12 grandkids.
I know. When did that happen?
Listen, one of my core memories of you, girl, and you will probably not remember this, but one of my core memories of you was a long, long time ago at an HSLDA Leaders Summit.
Okay.
And we were taking the big giant buses, and they take us out to barbecue, whatever. And you had a bunch of your kids there, and they were all just sitting like, dunk, 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 and I was like, wow, that is so impressive. Those kids were so put together. I'm like, where is the woman who is orchestrating this? Because it's amazing. Yeah. And it was you.
It was me.
It was you.
Was me.
Well done.
Well, no.
I was like, look how far my kids can spit a watermelon seed, and her kids were looking good.
No, I am really good at planning. And so I was really good at, sort of putting that out there.
It's amazing.
Logistics are sort of my thing.
I'm impressed. And you and your husband own Apologia.
We do.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my favorite curriculums out there.
Good.
And in fact, some of my favorite stories revolve around a few of those books.
Okay.
Which
do
is
tell.
Really funny. So one of my favorite stories is Savannah. So the Apologia has a Young Explorer series.
Right.
And so I let the kids pick what area of science they would want to study on any given year. And one of them, Savannah, actually wanted to do botany.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, you guys, no. B is for boring.
Oh, no. I love botany.
Botany. And I do not want to do botany. I don't know why the Lord gave me 7 kids when I can't keep houseplants alive. But
no, I can't keep houseplants alive
I can't do it. And I just thought
yeah.
botany is so boring. And I learned but I mean, Savannah was insistent. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll read the boring botany book. I loved it.
Oh, good.
I loved it. And
Good.
we learned through that book that there is a fern. In fact, you and I are going to go on a hike later today.
Okay, sounds good.
And I bet we'll find this particular fern because it's from the Pacific Northwest. And there's
Okay.
a picture of it in this book. And that fern uses the tried and true egg and sperm method to reproduce. And it will drop a spore into a puddle underneath the fern.
Yep.
And that is how baby ferns are born. I did not know this
Isn't that awesome?
until I read the botany
That's
book.
awesome. It wasn't boring.
And so it wasn't boring. No,
know,
I
yeah.
was wrong. And so I repent. So anyway, that's one of I have lots and lots of stories about
Yeah.
Apologia and the wonderful work you guys are doing.
Well, thank you.
But you and David's been married now for 38 years.
38 years.
What in the
Yeah,
world? I'm a
I
little bit
know.
behind you at 35.
That's okay. That's okay.
But I am amazed how quickly life is coming at us. I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like it's
Yeah.
coming at us fast. And I think a lot of people at the show, because I've been doing my show for almost 10 years,
Yeah.
a lot of people kind of watched our kids grow up.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you've
Heard
been
our
speaking
stories.
yes,
Yeah.
you've been speaking on the homeschool circuit for
Yeah.
100 years.
Yeah, at least.
I
Feels
counted.
like that long. Yeah.
Let's compare. Let's compare, Rachel. I counted. I am in homeschool years. I am 193 this year.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's going to require math, which is
Yeah.
not my strong suit.
No, see, it's a
yeah.
little number that we make up, and I decided it's just how old I feel.
Okay, there you go. I can appreciate that. No, we homeschooled our 7 for 26 years.
a long
so
time.
the math on that, I'm not sure what that is.
That
but
makes
it was
you
a long
about
time.
193 years,
It was-
200.
it was a long
It's a
time.
long time, and really, when you're in the midst of it, you don't realize how precious and how amazing.
No.
You know, I mean,
I
I
don't know
think
if you
we sort of
can.
had an idea, but I don't think you can fully appreciate
No.
it until your kids move out and have families
Mm-hmm.
of their own. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, because you and I now have a fair amount of experience with adult kids.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
my oldest is 34.
Mine too.
So,
Yeah.
And it keeps me on my knees. I
Yep.
think I probably pray more now than
Oh, I mean,
ever
I thought I
have.
prayed a lot then.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were.
The pray continually thing
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah. And I think that because we're homeschool mothers
Mm-hmm.
and we were so intimately involved in raising our children and orchestrating literally from, what are we studying? We're studying botany, what are we going to study to, what's the schedule in the house, to the chores, to, who's on
Dinner.
the soccer team, to dinner, to all
Yeah.
those things. And then eventually, as they do, our kids grow up and become adults. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes we can stumble and fall into that season, like
Yeah.
trip and fall into the
Yep.
season of adult kids. What has that been like for you? Because I kind of want to talk about some lessons that we've learned and hopefully will help you guys not stumble and fall as hard as we did.
Well, yeah, fair enough. It was just harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was just harder. I mean, our first one moved out, and he was always like a force of nature. And it was like when he left,
There's like a vacuum kind of.
yeah, like sucked the air out of the room. Like none
Was
of
it
us
hard
knew what
on
to
the
do.
younger kids too?
It was so hard.
That was my experience.
It was really, but the harder one was, I think I want to say it wasn't just 2 years later. I think it was 3 years later. We had the next 2 leave the same year. And so it was our second son was going off to art school. He had stayed home and done a couple of years at home. And then his younger sister, it was time for her to go off to her gap year program. And I remember we had already taken, I think Anderson went first, and we had to come home because we did the whole family thing. We all packed up and we took
Yep.
him off. We said goodbye. And then it was time to take her. And so we come home, we pack up all her stuff, and everybody's in the van, and we're going to go take her. And I remember I was the last one in the house. Everybody was in the van. All her stuff is in the van, and we're going to do this thing. And I remember one of my younger 2 sons came in the house, and he was crying. And he said, "Mom, tell her she can't go.
Yeah.
Tell her she can't go." And I was just like,
Yeah.
because it was his emotion, it was my emotion. And that's the thing is as the mom, and I think this is true, I think it becomes more true the older they get, is you were carrying all of that when they were younger, but when they get older, you're really carrying it. And you're carrying the individual, Savannah Ann was going off. And so she had her emotions about going away, but then her younger sister and her other younger sister and the younger brother and the other younger brother and then my husband and me. And it just becomes a lot of lot of emotion in that van.
Well, and you can see, you're tearing up now just talking about it.
Yeah.
And I guess I want moms to know, especially, I feel like, Rachel, if we don't hurt from it, we did it wrong.
Oh, yeah. Just take my heart out of my chest.
That's what I think. I think if we don't hurt from it, if it doesn't make us sad on some level, we did it wrong. We want our kids to get their wings and fly. That's what we've trained them and we've prepared them for this moment. And it's beautiful to watch.
It is.
In fact, Jay was saying to me the other night, because our daughter Summer has become quite the cook. Wow. She is gluten and dairy free, and I am not.
Okay.
And I do not like cooking that way. It's very frustrating for me.
It's not easy.
So she has taken over cooking because she wants to eat with the family, which is working for me great.
Yeah.
We came home the other night, from the resource center, and she was just cooking up a storm, and the house smelled amazing. And Jay just said, it's just fun to watch them flourishing as adults. And that's what we want.
Yeah.
But the transition
it's tough.
Can be brutal. And I think especially for the younger, the farther the kids are down on the family totem pole, the harder it is. Several years ago, because our oldest kids have been out of the house now for a long time. But when I was taking Sailor to church one morning, it was just me and her. Her dad was leading worship, and she just said, "Mom, you know what the hardest thing is about being the youngest?" And I was like, "No." And she said, "Everyone leaves you behind."
It's so true. It is so true.
She has spent her entire life watching her siblings
being
leave.
left.
Yeah. I want to take a moment to say thank you to our sponsor today. Today's show is being sponsored in part by my friends at Give, Send, Go. And it's a pretty amazing partnership because months ago, before I received my medical diagnosis, we had been hoping to partner with this amazing company. And I had no idea that I was going to be on the receiving end of a Give, Send, Go campaign. But I can tell you it's been an incredible blessing for me. And I love what these guys are doing. They are really crowdfunding with a gospel message and sharing the light of Christ and helping us fulfill the mandate in Galatians 6:2, where we are really commanded to bear one another's burdens and in so doing fulfill the law of Christ. One of the things that's awesome about Give, Send, Go is that they have a prayer team that you can join and pray for the campaigns that you see online. So even if you can't give right now, you can pray. There is power in your prayers, and I love what the Lord is doing through the platform at Give, Send, Go. Check them out at givesendgo.com.
Being left. You're always left. And even there's another part of that too. So the younger ones, or this was our rule, we always felt that it was important for the younger ones to go and cheer for the older ones.
Yes.
So if any one of the kids had something,
everybody
we sort
was there.
of went as an amoeba to cheer them on, right? Yeah.
And there's no,
but,
they don't come for the younger ones.
They don't come for the younger ones.
I know.
It's just really hard. Yeah. It's really hard for them because it's just completely different for them. For the older ones, we were home. We only left the house twice a week. And then when they're coming along, we're gone every day.
Yeah,
because the older ones demanded that.
Yes,
there were co-ops and driver's lessons and teams and it was great and it was glorious, but it was very different than it was. And then it happens again as they're getting older. So we all went to the first one's college graduation.
Yeah. Yep.
And the second, and then now,
or if they move into the dorm, the whole family goes and moves them in the dorm.
We all go. We all carry everything.
Yeah, it really is true. Something that Alyssa said to me, because I still grieve this, I think, a little bit, just with our 14-year-old, because I want those experiences for her, and she's not going to get them.
Yeah.
And Melissa said, and I thought this was so good, and it encouraged my heart, and I hope this is for somebody today. Yeah. She just said, the Lord knew that Sailor would be the last one.
Yeah.
The Lord knew that she was going to spend her life, watching her siblings leave. And also there have been extreme blessings for her too, because she's got, she became an aunt when she was 2.
Oh yeah. That's pretty sweet.
She became an aunt. And so she's really growing up with different kinds of siblings, know. So Savannah's oldest kids, Sailor's 14 and Savannah's oldest is 12.
Oh, wow.
So they're very close.
Go.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I know.
Yeah.
But it was good. Jay and I had to stop having kids before we were starting to sing the "I'm My Own Grandpa" song. Starting it. It's getting a little dicey.
Yeah.
But it was a good thing for me to remember. And I think as moms, because you're so right, we carry so much. And I think what I was learning was I don't actually have to carry that she's the youngest.
Yeah.
Because the Lord will carry her.
Yeah.
And he knew when she was going to be born, and he knew what her birth order was. Yeah. And she was made for it. She was literally born for that role.
For that time.
Yeah.
And over time, I think, when they're younger, maybe they can't understand why people aren't coming, and maybe they do see it as a point of rejection, although it's not. I mean, these other ones are having babies and paying the mortgage, and they just can't, know.
Yeah.
I think over time, because of prayer, their perspective will change. That is my prayer, at least, that they'll come to understand and appreciate, because you're right. There are other blessings that they had that the other ones didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Can't see it yet.
I would say, Sailor has had more time with me alone.
Yeah.
Than any of the other kids combined.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Because just by virtue of the fact that I'm not surrounded by her siblings all the time.
Right.
And I think that part of it has really been important. But I know that there are some things that you and I have learned over the years. Usually, at least this is how I am. I'm a slow learner. I tend to learn things the hard way.
Yeah.
Like, my brother-in-law, Banner, he always says, how do you want to do that, Heidi? And I'll look at him. What do you mean? He said, I'll say whatever's hardest. Let's do it the hard way. Let's just do the hard way.
The hard way.
Yeah, whatever's hardest.
Yeah.
But I want to know some things that you have learned that might help some of the other, moms. Like, listen to me, guys. If your kids are like 14, now is the time.
Oh, yeah.
Now is the time to be thinking, okay, I'm going to be transitioning this child into his or her own life.
Right.
And they're going to make their own choices. And sometimes I won't approve.
Yeah. Well,
and
surely.
Sometimes I'll be frustrated.
Yeah. Disappointed.
Yep. And you have kind of come up, you and I were talking just a few minutes ago about some things that we, in hindsight, in retrospect, look back. And one of those things was that you wanted your kids to know as they moved out of the house that you also had a life.
Yeah.
And that was important to establish. Why did you say that?
I just didn't think it was healthy. Just like it's not healthy if I have one of my sons is dating a girl and he is burdened by the fact that she has nothing to do if she's not with him. She's just sitting by her phone waiting for him to call and say, let's go do something, right?
That's not healthy.
It's not healthy. It's actually a burden to him. And there's a dependency there that's not good for either one of them. It's the same thing with my kids. My kids need to know that that the Lord is not done with me just because they've moved out.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm in a new season. It might take me a little while to figure out what that is. It might take...
But you will figure it out.
To settle it out. But I've got other things going on. And I have people in my home that they don't know. And we're hosting things and we're going places. And I think that's just really healthy for them.
Yeah.
To keep in touch with them and communicate. I think sometimes when they move out, the communication is not as two-way as you want it. I don't know if that happened to you.
Certainly.
But we can initiate it one way. We can be the ones that say, hey, your dad and I are going to the Great Smoky Mountains and we're going to camp for 4 days. And we can post pictures. And it may still be silent on the other end because they're trying to work out what it looks like to not be at the house anymore. Right. And so I think it behooves us to take the high road, to engage, find new ways of engagement, and continue to communicate with them and tell them and hopefully draw them out to share with you. I love that. Yeah.
I heard from another friend of mine who was kind of looking back over her adult, and I think this is a great time to have this conversation because it's graduation season.
It is, yeah.
And there are parents who are launching their kids for the first time, and I think it's really easy sometimes, especially if you're a homeschool family and there's a lot of kids in the family, it can be easy for parents to sort of guilt the older kids, why aren't you coming back for the da-da? You didn't talk to your sister, blah, 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 blah. And and it's out of love for the younger one.
Of course it is.
That we burden the older one, but that actually isn't their responsibility. I mean, obviously we want the siblings to be close.
I know.
But it's important, right? That we're sensitive to the fact that these young adults are actually adults.
They're actually adults. And they go, and it's such a bittersweet thing. I mean, this is what you worked for, right? You worked to work yourself out of a job, not to be more dependent.
Yeah.
And they go, and I mean, I think as a homeschool mom, I just remember we did everything together. I knew what they had for breakfast.
I know.
I knew if they had a nightmare. I knew if they were on it. I knew that if they were frustrated with their math or they did terrible on their writing assignment. I mean, I knew everything they read. I mean, I knew. And now they're gone.
You know
and I don't know anything, right? And that was just hard. So here's a pro tip. And this was not original to me. I would love to take credit for this. But, if you want to take credit for something. When my kids went off to college, I was in charge, all the you have to figure out who's going to do what. But I was in charge of helping them commandeer books and supplies. I would always pick a book that they were going to read for that semester and read it also.
Really?
Because it gave me a go-to reference point for that semester that we could talk about. And we had read together for a long time. It was just, so with all the kids, I just tried to pick one book or something out of one book that I could just say, hey, I noticed this on your book list and I picked it up because I'd never read it before, or I wanted to reread it. And I could say something to them or comment on it. Or I could say, I noticed that you're reading this and I never read it. I'd love to talk about it. Or my kids did philosophy. I never took a philosophy class. And so I had a lot to learn, right?
You ended up with quite a few philosophers.
I did. 3, actually. But having something that sort of is their expertise, right? Because they're in the class and you're just reading the book. But it does give you some sort of a touch point. And even now, they're almost all graduated. Still, if there's a podcast that they're listening to that really is meaningful to them, or an artist that they really like, or an article, or some endeavor or something that they're chasing, I try to find ways to engage with it and let them be the expert. Look, I spent 26 years teaching them, really learning a lot myself, and they taught me too. But now to turn it around and say, I was reading this article that you sent the other day. I'd really love to discuss that with you. And just having another way to engage with them after all those years of engaging with them.
Yeah, and what you're really doing is you're continuing then into their adult years to build that relationship. Yeah. I think it's easy, and I have been here before. I hate to admit this, but everyone knows it's my show and I admit all kinds of things on here all the time. But there were a couple of points with different kids in different seasons where I would feel hurt.
Oh, sure.
Because they didn't call, or like one of the kids, who shall go unnamed. Like I waited all day long hoping I'd hear from this child on my birthday. And it's not like the end of the world.
It's close to it, though. You can see it from there.
But you could see it from there.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, really?
Yeah.
I try really hard not to miss a birth. I'm at least going to call. I might not send you a card, but I'm at least going to call or text you, hey, I'm thinking about you. Yeah. Happy birthday. Yeah. And I was really hurt by it.
Yeah.
And I nursed that wound.
Oh.
And then the next day I was just mad.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, well, you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to text you on your birthday, right? I was acting like a full-blown 3-year-old child, And I really had to wrestle that thing to the ground and realize, oh, wow. We're establishing a new kind of rhythm in our relationship. And what I really want is for that child to feel like they can talk to me when they need to.
Yeah.
And I've got to not act like a child.
Yeah.
And just go, you didn't call me, so now I'm going to be passive aggressive, right? Because that was, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That was the temptation.
Oh, sure.
Was to say some snarky thing, to be passive aggressive, so I said the snarky passive aggressive thing to my husband.
There you go.
Instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, can I say this to you so I don't say it to said child? And he was like, go right ahead.
Bring it on.
Get it off your chest. So I said it and he was like, I agree with you. I agree. Are you done?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm done. Yeah. But I'm glad I look back now and I'm very glad I did not sit. I didn't sit, because that would have been no bueno.
You would have done damage.
Yes.
So much damage.
And it's not worth it.
It's not. And another thing really closely related that you're bringing up is once they're launched, they're not always going to call both of you.
Oh, it's true. That is true.
And so, you might have some kids that call your husband more. They gravitate more. Some that call you more.
Parents of teens, listen up, because I have found an awesome Bible discipleship program that I think you're going to love. If you want your teens to own their faith instead of just regurgitating Bible facts, you need to know about RVL Discipleship, the curriculum. It's a powerful new curriculum that's been designed for homeschooled teens from our friends at Focus on the Family. Each lesson is taught by awesome Bible teacher Ray Vanderlyn. His semester-long course takes teens beyond fill-in-the-blank lessons to real-life application, helping them live out their faith with boldness and purpose. RVL curriculum is flexible, parent-friendly, and deeply engaging because it's been designed to spark real conversations about faith between you and your teens. Right now, you guys can get 2 free sample lessons at rvlcurriculum/HSJ, plus 10% off when you purchase the curriculum with code Heidi10. You guys, discipleship matters. Let's raise our kids to become lifelong disciples of Jesus. Go to rvlcurriculum.com/HSJ today.
I'm going to just tell you right now, the enemy is going to try to take you down, and he is going to try to just feed that monster of jealousy between you and make you just ticked off at your husband. Yeah. How dare he take another call from that child, because he knows that they haven't called you into,
Right. Yep.
You need to just step away from that because aren't you glad they're calling one of you?
Yes.
And you can always exchange. You can always say, well, your mother would love to hear that story. Why don't you call your mom? You can do that.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But don't be mad about it.
No, you can't hang on to it.
I think just can't.
The enemy wants you to get that little root of bitterness in there. And it's amazing how quickly it works. Mm-hmm. It is amazing. And I think, as parents, our whole lives we're going to be parents, right? And you and I probably have aging parents now.
Yeah.
And certainly that's my life right now. My mom just moved in a month ago, I guess, into a retirement community. And I said to my mom the other day when I, dropped her off after spending an afternoon with her and took her down to the dining hall, and all of her friends were there. And because I had said to my mom, I'm like, I need you to make friends.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to have a life here. And I saw her friend Sheila was sitting at the table, and Sheila and Anne and Linda were all sitting at the table, and they saw my mom come into the dining hall, and they're like, hey, saying hi to her. And I was so happy to see that she had a life, because I can't carry that.
Right.
But
you'll be tempted to.
Right. I know. And I want my kids to know the same thing about me. Like, I don't want my kids to feel like they have to, it's like what you were saying at the very beginning. They can't carry my social life. I can't be, they can't feel like, oh man, I didn't call mom today. Right. No. They need to not feel that. Right. And I think part of it is just being the grown up in the room. Right. And, we've established that we love each other. And here's where we have some touchstones. I still think it's really important. I'd love to hear how you guys do holidays, because holidays with adult kids, especially as they get married and have their own families, I get actually quite a few questions about that at the show. I think a lot of my audience growing up with me, and maybe there are young moms listening to this, and I'm your mother's age, and maybe it's the ways that you can be kinder to your mother by just realizing, hey, just the way that you look at your child, she looks at you. Yeah.
Which is hard for them to put their
It's so hard, but it's really true. Like, you're never not the parent of that grown child. You still, your heart is walking around outside your body for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
And that's good, but we also want to keep it in a healthy place. So how do you guys do holidays and establish traditions with your grown kids?
Yeah, so none of our kids live close by. So we kind of are opposite on that.
Yeah, almost all my kids live close.
Yeah, so it's just completely, they're all spread out. And so we claimed early on that instead of claiming Christmas as our family thing, we claimed Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving.
I do too.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
I do love it. And I think it sets the tone for Christmas. If you know how to be thankful, then Christmas is far more meaningful. And so I love Thanksgiving. And some of them come for the whole week, which is glorious. And they love to all stay at the house. So it is mass pandemonium. And, it's just, and I stock everything. I try to have everybody's favorite things and everything. And then we plan all kinds of different activities. We've done plays. We've done reading through A Christmas Carol. We usually have a movie night. Yep. We have a bonfire with chili down by the bonfire. We've had talent shows. We did a little scavenger hunt a video scavenger hunt one year in the little town close by to us. We just do a whole lot of fun things. We play games real late into the night. And the girls usually do something like a brunch little thing, and the guys sometimes will go and do bowling or something like that. But it's our week, where we're all together. But it's challenging. It's the week I kind of let things go, if that makes sense. Because, right now, it's just me and Davis at the house. And I don't know how that long will last, but it is today. And like in the refrigerator, I can open it. I could get things out of my refrigerator with my eyes closed.
I know, because you know where they are.
Which is awesome. I just have to tell you.
You waited for that for 26
and
years.
I have to tell you, I will say to myself sometimes, I shouldn't love this as much as I love this. But I love that I know where everything is in my refrigerator. And I know when it was here. So I know that there's nothing that's going to kill me in here. But when they come home, I stock everything. And we've got everything all planned. And I just step back, and it's chaotic for a week, and the jam is not on the door.
Yeah, and sometimes it's on the shelf of the refrigerator.
Sometimes it is, and there are things that could kill me in there.
Yes, they are.
But it's all the laughter and all of the everything.
Yeah.
And I just step away from it for a week, and then everybody strips their beds, and they all go home, and I cry and make them and pray a lot. So, but it's mass pandemonium and chaos, and it's glorious. Yeah.
And this is life.
It is.
This is it. And I think sometimes too, and this is another kind of these are like sticky situations, I think, with adult kids. One of them is that sometimes your adult kids don't get along.
I know.
And that's tough.
It's tough, especially if it's an in-law. I think that can. I don't guess it matters.
Yeah.
It's still tough.
Well, it's tough, and if they marry into a family where there's like personalities are different, or they might have a different philosophy of raising children, and you can feel the tension. Like when the kids get together, you sort of feel that tension. And Melissa was talking to us before we started recording, and she had said something to me months and months ago because I was watching my adult kids like sparring over something.
Yeah,
and it just grates on my nerves. I'm like, honestly, stop
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Melissa said that she had kind of a similar situation and just told one of her kids, listen, I parented this for, 18 years of your life. I'm not going to parent it anymore.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I love that. I thought, man, that was really good.
I have not done that. Because I've wanted to just send somebody into next week. Because that's what I would have done. What I've wanted to say is, if you were 12, I would have sent you in last week.
Yeah.
Because no, you're not doing this. We're not doing this.
No.
Stop it.
Stop it.
But you can't do that when they're older.
No. And
you shouldn't do that. You can. But
I loved her just as, it's Alyssa. She doesn't know how to behave a different way. But I loved her just straightforward, like, I'm not actually going to parent this anymore.
Yeah.
And I think some of us are more emotional. And so we want to just fix it. You want to fix it. And hey, kids, can we just, kumbaya a little bit? But the reality is that isn't the mom's responsibility or the parent's responsibility anymore. And I think it is really wise when you hear your adult children arguing, just go out into the room. Because some of you listening to this, your kids are still, maybe they're attending college locally or they're living at your house a little bit longer, and you've still got this sibling rivalry happening, and your kids are 21 and 23. And I think you could just go to them and say, hey, no. You can't do that in this house. Like this is a place.
Take it outside.
This is a place of peace. We're not doing that. You guys want to hash it out? Go down to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right. Don't do it here.
Yeah.
And I'm not parenting this anymore. And similarly, mom and dad, you cannot fix sometimes when you've got two of your kids who don't get along.
Yeah. And it is heartbreaking, right?
It is absolutely.
I think from God's perspective, because I'm always wanting to pull it out and say, okay, it's got to break God's heart when we don't get along with each other. His brothers and sisters in Christ.
He made families.
He made families. And I feel, the heartache that I feel when I see two of mine not get along, it's heart-wrenching.
Well,
but
I think it's good for people to hear that happens to you.
Oh, it does.
And it happens to me. And it's normal.
Yeah. Well, they grow up and they go out and they have all these influences that you're not curating anymore, right? And then they marry, and then they've got all that from the married family. They are growing into different people than they were when they were at your house. And that's where all that prayer comes in that we were talking about. Because you just pray. You just pray that they'll stay on the path to God, that they won't stray off the path. But you have to acknowledge that it may not be a path that you would have chosen.
Someone said to me when I was kind of at the precipice of having our first kids leave the house, that she had read a book called Keep the Welcome Mat Out and Your Mouth Shut.
Ooh, I like that title. I
Isn't it
love
great?
that title.
I know. We can't use it because someone used it.
That's a good title, though.
It's a good title. Keep the welcome mat out and your mouth shut.
Yeah, that's good.
And years ago, I spoke to Dennis Rainey on his show. It's probably 15 years ago at least. And I asked him at the time, could you give advice to parents of young adults? And he was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. I said, why not? And he goes, because the evidence is still alive. Like, just meaning, and I think it keeps people like you and me quiet from offering help because we know there's a chance our kids will hear it, and you have to be careful. But the reality is every family has struggles inside of it, even
Every
healthy
family.
ones, even good families, even homeschooled families.
Right.
And these transitions can be difficult to make. And you and I know many, many, many people in the homeschool world
Yep.
Whose kids have walked away from the Lord, who have, ended up, they raise their kids. And for whatever reason, there's like a train wreck that happens in relationships at some point.
Yep.
And it is sort of sad that we can't ever talk about it because I think that not talking leaves other people in the dark as to what they should do.
Right.
And that's difficult. When so many voices are trying to shape our kids, raising children who love the Lord and know what's true has never felt more urgent or more challenging. That's why I've teamed up with my friends at Brave Books to give you guys 2 tools to support you as parents and grandparents. A copy of my children's book, The Mouse and the Sea, and free access to Brave Plus, which is the streaming platform I trust with my own grandkids. You guys are going to get both for free when you become Brave Books subscribers and start receiving a new values-based children's story every month. Each one of them is going to be rooted in biblical truth. Now with Brave Plus, it's like getting 2 subscriptions in one. It's filled with kids shows, all carefully vetted by real parents for mental, emotional, and spiritual impact. I've trusted Brave with my family for years, and I'm deeply grateful for how their stories unite families and shape kids' character for good. You can go to HeidiBrave.com to get your free book and streaming access right now. That's Heidi Brave, HEIDI Brave.com.
The last 3 years have been hard. But there's stories that aren't mine to tell.
That's right.
And I think that's another thing. And, I am a speaker and I told stories. And for a while I named kids. And then I realized that was not right. I should not name kids. Okay, I can tell a tale, but I don't need to name these kids. But even more so when they're adults, it's not my story to tell. And boy, I wish I could not for me, but because I wish somebody else had handed me a script.
That's the thing, yeah.
I remember in the last 3 years, I'm like, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. Nobody handed me the script. I mean, I know what's going on, but nobody said, okay, your line is this, cross stage left, sit on the sofa, stand. Yeah, I mean, nobody told me. And that was tough. It's been tough walking through that and wanting somebody to know, to hold my hand, to help me through. And yet I know that it was God's will that it's going to sound awful, but he's all I had. And I think that's how he wanted it to be. As hard as it was, I needed to be in another one of those places. I needed to be in another one of those places where it was only him. And it's just, when you're in one of those places where you don't even bother. I remember days where I would just carry a tissue box around, just crying. And my phrase has always been with tears dripping off my chin. Going through all the phases of just, God, this isn't what I asked for, mad, frustrated, disappointed, embarrassed. What are people going to say? I can't, and just going, okay, God, you're going to do something.
Yeah,
you're going to do something.
It's a new level of trust. It's a new level of surrender. And as we get older, I think we're realizing that's what we're constantly doing. We're constantly giving things to the Lord and constantly surrendering. And the exchange, there's this beautiful exchange that happens as our kids get older. I mean, I'm imagining that you are loving this time with Davis.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and the not, you know, and even though we loved and we miss, I think sometimes the really, you know, all the noise and all the, you know, it's nice to just kind of get back to, I don't know if I told you, but or maybe I did. Jay and I went on kind of an impromptu date because one of our kids was in Portland, and we never go to Portland for all the reasons. But we went to Portland, and that's where we'd met. Yeah. Right. So we went back to Multnomah School of the Bible. We walked the campus. And Jay was like, oh my gosh, I remember when you came out of class right here and I was standing over there. Wow. And we, you know, just, and he was like, Heidi, like, we have like grandbabies coming out our ears now. Like, what in the world? Yeah. You know, we went downtown and walked around at some of our favorite places. We went and looked at one of our old houses, which is now. Oh,
cool.
Yeah, it's a drug house now, but whatever.
Oh, sorry.
Giant, like, security cameras up on this house. They just ruined it. And we sat outside the house and looked at it. And it occurred to me later, of all of the seasons of life that God has brought us through. And we're in a season right now, like you are, of really reaping what we have been sowing over all these years. And also, Rachel, still sowing.
I know.
You're still sowing.
I know.
And I love that. Like, you're sowing now into the lives of your grandchildren.
I know.
And
those little people. Yeah,
and it's kind of an extraordinary thing because all these years that we spent shepherding our children, and like we've said many times, and I loved, you know, talking to Sam a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about the same thing. Even in the hard things, wouldn't trade it for the world. No. I wouldn't have given my you know, any of the platforms I've ever spoken from, any book I've ever written, to exchange for all of the years I had to shepherd those kids. Yeah. And that season is over, right, of shepherding those children. And yet there's a whole new generation of children coming up now.
New little lambs.
Yes, that you have this opportunity. And you said something really important, I think, to me about how you feel a grandparent should look at their role. And you said that we absolutely need to not, the word that comes to my mind is meddling, but that's not what you said. Yeah. You said the anti-something. You said, I'm very anti...
spoiling your grandkids and sending them home. There's a set of grandparents, and I think it's kind of vogue. The joke is, oh yeah, the grandbabies are coming this year. I'm going to go buy all the sugared cereal, and I'm going to buy all of the Disney movies, and we're just going to do all of the things that their parents never want them to do. And then we're going to give them back. And I'm like, that's not funny. Mm-hmm. You were just building obstacles and barriers between your relationship, not just with your kids, but actually with your grandkids. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because your grandkids you're undermining everything that your kids are trying to do in their parenting. Mm-hmm. And I just think you need to come alongside them. Yeah. And the coming alongside is tricky too, because, right, it's not going to be the same for all of them. Right. So I'm going to come along this one this way, and I can come along this one maybe not as much, and maybe this one full bore, and this one, you know. Yeah. It's tricky because they're all individuals, and they're all parenting different, and their kids are all different. And so you're trying to find ways. Just this last week, so we have 3 new grandbabies coming in June. I can't believe it. And so I was talking to a couple of the moms-to-be saying, look, what do you think about me? I'm trying to find a way to help, and because I'm not going to be able to be there. So would you be open to me doing X, Y, and Z to sort of help you navigate your recovery and engage the other kids and everything? And they were like, that would be great. And I was just like, okay, so this is an example of how I kind of have my role and kind of know what we're doing. And we have the same objective, but it's still different for all of them. And so I think that's the tricky part. But it's very similar, though, to when we were homeschooling, right? Because I thought, when I first started homeschooling, I thought, okay, this is all about figuring it out and then rinse and repeat. Yeah. I just had to figure out an English curriculum, a math curriculum, all this. And then it's just push rewind and just do it again.
Doesn't work.
It's not about that.
Nope.
And it's the same thing here. It's not about, I just get to figure out once how to be a mother-in-law and how to be a grandmother. It's, I get to multiply that out, right? And so I have to figure it out. But I do think we have an opportunity to figure out, okay, how can I come alongside this family and this son and his wife, or this daughter and her husband, because it's going to be different for all of them. I like to send like packages every now and then to the grandkids, but they're not the same because they're different. And so I think coming alongside of them and supporting them and saying those things that we wanted our mother to say, or somebody to say, I see you. And I really appreciate how you are so present with the kids. I really appreciate how you sit and you patiently respond to them. I really appreciate how you love my son. I really appreciate how you love my daughter. You know, saying those things, that's huge.
It is huge.
But supporting them in what they're doing. And I don't think you get to correct them. I mean, if they ask, you know, we feel like we're really having a hard time here, I'd love anything you have to say with fear and trepidation. I think that's where you pray a lot, but I don't think you just come in and say, you've got this all wrong. No. You're really messing this up. I don't think you get to say that. No. Even if it's true. Even if it's true.
Well, that's where prayer comes in.
That's,
you know, where you just are, you know, we're going to be modeling for you what we think it looks like to support you well. And the biggest part is in prayer. And I do think, you know, as grandparents, our role is just different, but it's precious.
It is.
I mean, I had such an extraordinary relationship with my grandparents on my mother's side. And I think a lot of that was born out of dysfunction, because there was so much dysfunction in my family. And so I see now as an adult, you know, more of kind of the dynamics of that relationship I didn't see when I was a kid. But the things that they taught me and the things that I learned, and they were kind of no nonsense people. I mean, they didn't spoil us, or you know, but they loved having us around, and we knew that they did. So, but I'll tell you what, man, you mess with grandma and grandpa, and you're going to get in trouble. I mean, they never spanked us. But they turned us into our parents, who then spanked us.
There you go. There you go.
You know, so we knew, like, there was a line with grandma and grandpa that you do not cross, but we also knew that they loved to be with us. And I think so much of the messaging that we want our children to know is that we love their children, and we love watching you be a mother, and we love watching you raise your kids. And then you're straddling this, and also we don't want to raise them.
Right.
Because we did that. And now it's your turn.
We're done now.
Done.
No, and I think too, I mean, that's not to say you can't have special treats, because when you're talking about your grandmother, I remember mine, and my audience will recognize Nana Burt. So she was just amazing. And if you met her on the street, I mean, she was just an average woman, but she was my Nana Burt. And the thing for Nana Burt for me is I always went to one house. See, we moved around my whole life. And she was my rock, because it was always that little white house in Arkansas. And we gardened together. It was never anything fancy.
No.
And she never would have spoiled me.
It doesn't need to be fancy.
No.
That's the thing.
And she had no money to spoil us anyway, but there were always ding-dongs in the bottom drawer of her refrigerator.
Don't you love that?
It's just, you know, it was a little thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know, going against my parents or anything. But my mother in her wisdom never kept them.
Yeah.
They were only ever at Nana's.
Yeah.
And so I do think that that's sort of a secret for being a grandmother. I think there ought to be some things that are only at your house.
I agree. Toys, too.
Some toys, some books, some really, really good books. I'm trying to build a library, because I think libraries are going to go the way of the dinosaur, which I think is really tragedy.
Doing the same thing. We have a pretty decent library at our house as well.
Yeah, I think we really need to be doing that, especially with the Christian classics. You know, we need to all have the Constitution. I mean, there's some basic things that we need to have. But
everyone should have a copy of the Federalist Papers.
Exactly. These are things we need.
Today's podcast is being sponsored in part by my friends at the Functional Medical Institute. You guys know I love Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood. They are internationally recognized pioneers in the field of functional medicine, biohacking, and longevity, and they have been helping thousands of people transform their health by breaking free from chronic illnesses to achieve vibrant health. I love these guys. Their approaches are really unique and revolutionary, and they're helping people reverse chronic common disease processes and delivering real, lasting health transformations where traditional medicine often falls short. They tackle root causes and integrate advanced therapies like peptides. This is something I was telling you guys about. When I got my tumor diagnosis, one of the very first things that they did was put me on peptides. And it is remarkable what these guys are doing with hormones, supplementation, and functional nutrition, as well as cutting-edge data, including DNA and other advanced testing. And you guys can access them right from the comfort of your own home online. And I hope that you will, because they are producing unmatched, life-changing results. Check them out at homeschoolhealth.com and be sure to use the coupon code Heidi for 20% off whatever you order at the website. That's homeschoolhealth.com.
But really good children's literature that you can have at your house that has to be visited. It's not going to be at their house, right? And so, and then maybe a treat or something that's always at your house or something that you
know
can
what I
count
found?
on. What?
So our daughter, and actually I'm watching this, most of our kids, they're trying to limit the amount of sugar and like all the stuff that RFK says, don't do that, like the red dye number, whatever. And anyway, so my grandma name is Mamsie. Do you have a grandma name?
I love that. I'm Coco because I love chocolate, so it was pretty
so
easy.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love Jane Lambert's grandma name.
I forgot.
It's Sweetie.
Oh, I like that a lot too.
So they call her Sweetie. I just think it's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
So you got a Sweetie and a Coco and a Mamsie.
There you go. I love
Look
Mamsie.
at you guys.
That's
Look
very
at our
cute.
cute names. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, my grandma always used to have lifesavers were kind of her thing, but Tootsie Pops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we always knew that when we sit next to grandma in church.
Oh yeah, that was in church.
Yeah, there was a lollipop in it for us. Anyway, I found these. Like they're sugar free and dye free. Yeah, these little lollipops. Anyway, I call them Mamsie Pops.
Oh, I love that.
And so there's nothing cuter than little Junie seeing me at church. I'm like, do you have a Mamsie Pop? Well, yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
And just those little things that we're, little tiny things, but they'll remember.
That you're known for.
They'll remember them. And I just think, boy, to establish it. And also you got to give yourself grace because, like me, I never really had a break from having little kids because Savannah was, Noah, my grandson was born when my youngest daughter was only 2.
Wow.
And so it was just, I never had a break. And so I'm probably not going to be the grandma that, come and spend the night at my house every night because I haven't had a night at my house by myself yet.
Yeah.
I'm still, I'm waiting for that. And so I know that, and I talked to my daughters about this, that's probably not, I'm not that Mamsie. I'm not her. But there are other things that the Lord's given me and gifted me and things I want to share with them and pass on to them. And I think giving advice to my daughter, you're right, not one of them unless she asks, or any of our kids actually as they get to be adults. Yeah. And I think that's a skill. It's a useful skill.
Yeah.
Don't butt in.
Yep. Yeah. And it's all how you frame it often. I was even talking to one of our sons yesterday who was in a dilemma. And I said, you want to brainstorm this? Sort of, we're on the same team. We're a level. This is not me,
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let's brainstorm this. And so we started brainstorming. But it's not me telling you. It's like us considering what are the options? What could happen? What do you want? Just sort of thinking it through, sort of strategizing. It's different than telling you what you need to do.
And it's also not rescuing.
No.
And that's something you and I both know Dorinda Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
And she was on my show weeks ago. And we were talking a little bit about grandparenting, kind of what she's been learning, over the years. And one of the things that she was really adamant about was we need to stop rescuing our kids. Sometimes they have to fall down and skin their knees as adults. And I'm just here to pray for you and listen. And I love that word brainstorm.
Or strategize.
Strategize. But she was saying, be really careful that we don't rescue the kids. So she said, for example, not that she would never do this, but she said, I'm not going to, if my kids call me and they've had a hard day, I'm not going to probably drop everything I'm doing and go over and say, can I make you dinner? Or can I clean your house? Can I may do that, every once in a while. But they need to. This is good for them. It's growing. It's sanctifying. It's the things half of the lessons that you and I have learned have come from the years and years and years and years of unaided.
That's right.
Meal prep and home education. It's not like, I'm not saying we shouldn't help our kids, so don't misunderstand.
No.
Nobody send me mean letters. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I just think
Habitually is what you're saying.
habitually is
Right.
what we don't want to do. It's not good for the grandparents, and
Right.
it's not good for their children.
No.
It's not.
No, and you said about 50% of the things we learned in the hard way. And I was like, that's about 99% for me. I wish I had learned more things in the easy days. I'm kind of hard-headed. And so very actually, but I'm hoping I'm getting better. But I want that for my kids.
Yeah.
And I can remember just recently one of the kids was dealing with something and it was like the Holy Spirit said, you prayed for this. You've prayed for them to grow. You've prayed for them to get stronger.
And this is their chance.
This is, keep praying. And so I think I really do think perspective is so powerful. And if we can step back and really get perspective on the opportunity God gives us at, parenting the adult children and being grandparents, I think it changes how we do it. If we get too close and if we listen to culture, it's just awful.
Yeah.
I just don't think we want to do what culture is doing. And culture's rescuing and culture's spoiling and or dictating because we don't want to do that either. We don't want to be the mother-in-law that tells everybody what to do.
No.
And so nobody wants to
Ain't nobody
respond.
want to be like that.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
So don't be that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if that's what it's been for you, it stops with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's good.
Need to stop it.
You got an opportunity to stop a generational line of habitual, meddling or whatever it is. I know that
manipulation.
Oh my word.
I know.
Yes.
I know. Yep.
Yeah, and I think, if that's what you saw modeled, it's easy to do.
It is.
And once you realize, you don't know what you don't know, but when you know it, do something different.
Yeah.
Change your attitude. Do it differently. Do it better. And that to me is like, wow, what an opportunity. And really, we have an opportunity according to Psalm 78. And I love, the psalmist said, we were commanded, talking to the fathers, right, to teach their children so that they would teach their children and they would teach the children yet to be born.
Yeah.
So that they would love the Lord.
Yeah.
That's the point. And the psalmist Asaph is saying that when we sow into the lives of our children, it has a generational ripple effect to 4 generations.
I know. Isn't it beautiful? And that's that perspective.
It's amazing. And I think this is also why the enemy attacks it so hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because he wants us to stop. He doesn't want that generational impact. And so I think the thing is just be praying like, Lord, show me with each of these individual children as they transition to having their own families, their own children, their own spouses. How can I love them and be a reflection of you so that they can love their children well, so that their children will tell the next generation yet to be born about the love of God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what does that look like for me today or this interaction? And that comes back to just that constant prayer. What can I do? What can I say? What can I not do?
There's power in prayer.
There's so much power. And I hate that we so often, I do this, say, just pray.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not really going to matter. It's not going to do anything. But, if you insist on doing something, you can just pray. When it's the most powerful thing we can do.
Yeah.
It really is. And our kids need us praying. Just yesterday, I was talking to one of our kids and they were a little upset about something that was not working out. And just, I've tried. And we're doing this brainstorming thing on the phone. And I hang up and he just really discouraged. And I hang up and I call Davis and I said, we really need to pray. They've worked really hard on this. It's not coming together. Really discouraged. Literally an hour later, I am in the airport. This might be why I got to be delayed yesterday coming here. I get a text from this child saying, guess what just happened? And it was like within 2 hours of me talking.
Oh, hey, it really does work.
And I was just like, and I sent back a prayer.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for coming and interceding and acting in a way that we could not have predicted, that this is obviously for your glory. And just pointing them back to God, look what God did. Thank you, God, because that's how we come alongside them and help them remember where all the good things are coming from.
So good.
Because the discouragement only comes from the enemy.
Boy, it's true.
But this kind of answered prayer, I mean, this there was no accounting for this any other way, but that the God of the universe said, bam.
Yeah.
And you praise God with them, and you show them what that looks like.
Man, so good. And these are opportunities that we have right now. No matter where we are in life. If you're listening and you don't have grandchildren,
right,
and your kids are still little, you're sowing right now.
You are.
And your kids will remember. They will remember. I mean, this was the Israelites' problem, right?
Yeah.
They just could never remember. And I realize this is arrogant of me, so forgive me in advance. But I always think, if I was there and I saw the Red Sea and I saw Moses lift up that staff and God part the Red Sea, that I would never stop talking about it.
I know.
And the Bible records that they forgot.
Yep.
That they forgot.
Yeah.
And Lord,
persistently.
Yes, persistently. I mean, take another lap around Mount Sinai.
Come on.
I mean, we've gone this. We've done this thing a whole bunch of times. They saw the walls of Jericho fall. They saw God do amazing things. Joshua, who lifted up his hands and commanded the sun to stand still, and God did it.
Yep.
Yes. And then the Israelites forgot again.
I know.
And they started whining and crying about wanting a king.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my word, I am the Israelites.
Yeah.
That's me.
We do forget.
We do forget. And I think in the seasons that we have, and I've been telling my daughters this lately because they're in the throes of raising children, and my son and his wife about to have twins.
Woohoo!
I know, my goodness. And I've been telling my kids lately, write it down.
Yes.
Write down what the Lord is doing. I have Rachael journals from when my kids were little. I don't journal very much anymore, although I've started to, in this journey that I'm on right now with my health and how hard this has been, and this sort of season that I'm in, and I've started journaling again.
Yeah.
Because I'm expecting God to do something.
Yeah.
I know that He will, and I think if we're telling our children, expect God to do something, watch for Him to do something.
Yeah.
Write it down so that when He does it, we don't forget.
You've got notation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
you can go back.
That you remembered. Like the Homeschool Resource Center is that for me.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Because I think the enemy comes, to kill and steal and destroy. And one of the things that he destroys is our, not ability, because I don't think it's an ability. I think it's a desire that we need to have that desire to say, Lord, please burn this into my memory so that I don't forget. So the next time up in front of that Red Sea,
Yep.
I'll remember what you can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what Passover was all about. And I always get the reference wrong, and I need to sear this into my memory. I want to say it's Psalm 86, but I don't think that's right. But there's a psalm that just recounts the history of God's people. And when did they read it? Every Passover.
Yes.
And we have not done this, but you're inspiring me with this idea that we need to have family histories like that. That when we get together, we go, let me tell you what God did.
Yes.
Let me map out for you where we've been.
Yeah.
We went through a house fire, and we went through three moves in 3 years. And God moved, and we didn't think we were going to have any after Anderson, and then we had Savannah Ann. Then we thought we were, recounting, 22 months of unemployment. Let me tell you what God has done. He provided for your school. He provided for you. And then encourage them to do their own personal ones, because there is power
Absolutely.
in marking back through. I mean, even how Davis and I got together and how he's held us together. I mean, if you've been married as long as we have, and you too, it's God has held us together.
Yep.
And I'm so
that's
grateful.
The only way.
It's the only way.
That's the only way. And I think that glue, that remembering, the Bible says in the Psalms, I think it's Psalm 107, but I should remember this. It says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. We should be saying, I'd said to Randall Rathman on my show a few weeks ago, and I said, we were talking about this, sort of a similar thing, and how important it is for us to remark to our children what God has done, and then to write it down and bring it up. I said, I want to bring back like Testimony Tuesdays, like in our churches. We never talk about we used to do this when I was a kid. Like, does someone have a testimony?
Let me tell you what God's done.
Let me tell you what the Lord has done. And it's an encouragement, right?
It's
people
huge.
that are around.
As long as it's centered on God. The problem is we digressed because I know you've experienced this, where testimonies became more about the person and just a little bit about Jesus. We heard more of the down and the
modern
dirty.
worship songs too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. Let's talk about what he did. Let's talk about who he showed himself to be.
That
faithful,
he wants the glory.
Provider, worthy, able, sustain, all of these things that God has shown off about. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And we need to be telling those stories.
Yeah.
We need to be telling each other every day.
Yeah.
I remember when I first, my childhood experience in it was in a denomination where we didn't do testimonies at all. I mean, we didn't really talk about God, if that makes any sense. Then we got into some Baptists and some Presbyterians that God was real to them. And you'd get together at a barbecue and they go, I got to tell you what God did this week. And I'm like,
and it was second nature.
Right. It's not Sunday. What are you talking about?
This is Sunday.
And they would just talk. And I was just sitting there going, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to be that aware of all of the stuff that's going on in my life. It's not me. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the movement of the holy, mighty God.
So good.
And so we need to be aware of that. And then we need to tell our kids. I think about my dad is an amazing man. He's traveled the world doing various mission things. And what our kids still love best is when my dad will launch into one of his stories about being out on the African plain or being in India. And he'll talk about, some of these things. And I think, my kids love that. I want to be that kind of a Coco. And by the way, we're Coco and Pops, so we're Coco Pops. So Davis, isn't that hilarious? But I want to be the grandmother that tells the story to my grandkids. Let me tell you what God did. Because those are formational stories to speak into their life and to tell them, tell the next generation. No, he's not done. Thank you. I'm so glad he's not done.
I mean, I just think, boy, this is the task. I think you were saying to me on the way home from the airport last night, like, we've looked to the generation in front of us, and now we're the generation to tell of the works of the mighty deeds of God to the next generation, so they would rise up and tell it to their kids. And this is what an amazing time to be a Christian. There's so much cultural shift that's happening right now. The church has an opportunity to engage with the culture like it hasn't had in 10 years at least. And we're right here. I mean, we're right in the middle of it.
Right here.
Right here, right in the middle of it. Rachael Carman, you are a national treasure.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. We could just talk forever. So
I know, and we will.
Yeah.
We will. We're going to go out and get dinner tonight.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be good. Sit down by the waterfront. It's going to be great.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. If people want to find you, where can they check it out?
RachelCarman.com. I'm trying to resurrect a podcast and Instagram, but it's been those 3 years. I just had to step back and breathe and see what the Lord has.
That's what you got to do.
I'd appreciate prayers.
You have a Bible curriculum?
I do. The Word in Motion. So it's all, I really believe that's got to be foundational. Whether or not you're homeschooling your kids, I'll just put that pitch in. We just did something at our church with a bunch of families that don't homeschool. But they're going to use it for family worship. But it's a kinetic. Your kids are actually up and moving, doing motions for the Bible curriculum. And then I read the whole curriculum so you can listen to it. And there's all these activities they can do, Old Testament, New Testament, 4 days a week. So teach your kids God's word. Teach your kids about who the holy, mighty God is. Then they will love and serve him.
Yep. And the whole point is pass it on.
That's right. Pass it on to the next generation.
Pass it on. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
If you guys want more information about Rachael, I will link back to her at the mentions page, HeidiSt.John.com/mentions. Listen, you guys, if you're not subscribed to the show, or if someone just sent this to you, I want to encourage you. You can click on the little subscribe button, hit that little bell, and to make this an automatic download. And if you'll add your email to my email list, we will send it to your email. So you'll get the show notes and all that stuff right in your email. Never miss another podcast again. We really appreciate your prayers for the ministry here and for our family in the season that we are in. And we really appreciate hearing your feedback. If you have not left a review for the show, we would love it if you would do that. Give us a 5-star review and pass the show on to your friends. It helps the people that sponsor the show, and it helps us with distribution as well. If you want information about the Homeschool Resource Center, you can go to Firmly Planted Family. That's firmlyplantedfamily.org. Just click on the Homeschool Resource Center. Usually once a year, we have a gathering here and we teach people how to start their own resource centers. We haven't put that on the calendar yet, but we will. My women's conference is coming up the second weekend in October, and it is filling up, and you can find out more about that. The theme this year is Born for This. You guys were born for this time in human history. That retreat is being held on the Oregon coast in Rockaway Beach, and you can find out more by going to HeidiSt.John.com/events. We love you guys. Thanks for listening today. Love your people well, and I'll see you right back here again at the intersection of faith and culture. Well, you guys ask me all the time about ways that you can disciple your young children, and I want to tell you about something I found that I think you're going to love. I am always searching for curriculum that's theologically solid, rich in apologetics, and wait for it, easy to use. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about the Answers Bible curriculum for homeschool from my friends at Answers in Genesis. This amazing program covers the entire Bible in just 4 years, and it was created specifically for kindergartners through fifth graders to be taught at the same time, which is going to save you time and simplify your day. You guys are going to get quality that you expect from AIG, and it's deep, fun, packed with truth, and designed to equip your kids to defend the faith. If you're ready to try it, head on over to answersbiblecurriculum.com/Heidi and download a free lesson to get started. That's answersbiblecurriculum.com/Heidi.